जयपुर वाया कोटा।
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत.
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವವರೇ
Hyderabad to Punjab Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दियो
Hyderabad finally off to the mark that they were looking for. They will first win this IPL. They can now treat themselves to some nice Hyderabadi biryani. Welcome back to Cricbuzz Live. I'm Saiyami Kher. I have Joy Bhattacharya, who's had some nice biryani tonight, and Lisa with me. Hyderabad's going to be relieved after their first win?
Absolutely. Really relieved. And I think one is first win. Captain gets a few runs. Rahul Tripathi, who's one of their key batsmen, gets runs. The bowlers are doing well. Markande did well. Marco Jansen well. So 4-5 really good signs for this team. And it was a very important win. In this tournament, if you go 0-3 down, it's very difficult to make your way back. So it's a very big win for them. And they'll be more than happy. I think they'll be relieved. I think that's the emotion more than happiness.
You know, Lisa, we spoke about this in the comm box that they started really slowly. Their opening again didn't fire. But then there was Rahul Tripathi who came and rescued Hyderabad.
Yeah, and his numbers are up there in the probably the top 2 or 3 in the amount of runs that he can score in those middle overs. So outside of the power play and probably before the 11th or 12th over, his strike rate is really good. And that's why he plays such an important role for Hyderabad, because if they do lose wickets early, he comes in and he almost counter-punches. He doesn't necessarily soak up the pressure by just getting singles. He actually goes back to the bowlers. Now, it hasn't necessarily worked the first few games, but it did today.
Joy, you know, in the comm box, we saw that he had just broken the shackles because he hit those 3 fours in the at the 10-over point, and then there was no stopping him after that. 100-run partnership with Markram also.
Absolutely. And if you see the first part of the partnership, the first 50-odd runs they scored, and Rahul Tripathi had 39 of them, and Markram just had 11. He was just dominating the partnership. See, the one great thing about Rahul Tripathi is, one, he's a busy player. B, he uses a crease very well. And, so he can step back, hold back, and just look at that 100-run partnership. 63-37 is actually a better mix. Markram really got going towards the end. Hit some beautiful shots through the offside, but Rahul Tripathi was the man who set the pace on this. And I think it's important to realize that how important he is for them, exactly that, those middle overs. So spinners, he knows exactly to cut, how late to cut, how to sort of bisect those fielders. That's what Rahul Tripathi is very good at. Field comes in, he'll loft a couple over the top. He forces them, of course, the greatest man, the man who used to do this the best was Brian Charles Lara, his coach. But Rahul Tripathi is one of the few players who has that ability to be able to manipulate the field.
Lisa, Rahul Tripathi has spoken about how when he was with Dhoni in the same camp, he had spoken about how he wants to learn from Dhoni how to finish games, and clearly he's taken that tip from Dhoni today. He's somebody who seems very cool and composed under pressure.
Yeah, he is. I think it comes through preparation and other senior players like Brian Charles Lara, soaking that up and understanding that. But once you've done the preparation, once you've had a lot of performances out there in the middle, whether it be domestic or other tournaments, then you can come in and be very calm and relaxed, because you've done all the work and you just need to go kind of almost flick the auto switch and away you go. You see ball and react to it. He looked in control at the whole time. We saw that Chahar was bowling and getting a fair amount of turn. He tried to sweep him hard the first over. Ball kind of stuck. It wasn't the right length to sweep, but he stuck at it and he started to select the right balls to do that. And once you start doing that to your spinners who can cause a bit of pressure on that type of surface, and once you find those boundaries, then all of a sudden, it breaks the shackles and things start to move quite nicely towards your target.
Joy, you think it's a slight concern with Mayank Agarwal not firing? We spoke about this in the pre-match show also. He came out with good intent. We saw that he came out with good intent, but it just didn't click again for him today.
Again, yeah, if you look at it, he hit a couple of big strokes, but it always worries me when people look as if they're forcing the pace, and then you look at the scoreboard and you see that 20 of 21 or 18 of 16 balls, because that means that they're wasting a lot of dot balls and not being able to, the really good batsmen in this format, you walk in and you think that they've played 5-6 balls and suddenly they're 15-20, And that's the one thing that Mayank Agarwal, he got bogged down. And then he got out trying to hit a big shot. That's typically what happens when you get frustrated in the first few overs and you just can't find gaps in the field. You're not running hard enough, you're not getting enough singles. And Mayank was a bit frustrated. And I think that is something that they have to watch out for. He has to, again, the master at this is Brian Lara. If you have to learn batting coaching, he's the one who can tell you, this is how you look for your gaps in your field. This is how you make places for yourself. This is how you make sure you don't put yourself under a lot of pressure. Because I think that is what happened. And it's a textbook dismissal, just getting under pressure, then, giving the bowler the charge, not clearing the outfield. That's exactly what happens to you. So I think it's important. Mayank goes back, looks at it and says, okay, here are the balls I should have, done something. I could have changed the length. I could have moved outside my crease. I could have maybe taken a shot at a reverse sweep. I could have changed the field. I could have done something about it. And I think I did. But still, he has 20 balls in. Even I believe that a lot of players say that even when they're in a situation where they haven't done particularly well, just spending 20 balls in the middle is important because you're starting to get a sense of the tournament, the feel of the tournament, and he'll only get better.
But Lisa, you think, he needs to just stick to his basics. 2021 was a great season for him. Of course, there is Lara in the dugout who will give him the advice that he needs, but maybe chill out and stick to his basics.
Yeah, sometimes it's just going away from the game. Not even going to your optional net session. Sometimes you can kill the goose before it's been cooked, so to speak, because you train too hard. You're constantly thinking about it, watching vision, dreaming about it. Sometimes you just need a complete break. And the great thing about this year compared to previous years is they're not in a bio bubble. They can actually escape. They can see their other friends. So, I'd suggest something along those lines. But also the issue for him is that there's Harry Brooks at the other end as well, who's also struggling.
True.
So when you're not going well, you kind of look to other people. And Hyderabad have lost their first few games. So from a batting point of view, this was an important game. I think they'll still stick with these guys for a couple more games and hope that they come good now that Tripathi and Aidan Markram has provided some runs in the middle. So not all is lost yet.
But a big positive for them today was the bowling because that clearly won them the match because, 143 is a very low score. So it's not that they had too much to play with, but incredible bowling performance today.
Exactly. Two big pluses. Marco Jansen looked beautiful because what he was doing was there's two things Marco Jansen we always knew he had. He has bounce because that kind of height, 6'8", gives you bounce. But what he's done and perfected is he has the ball that bends back. And in Indian pitches, he's likely to get a few more LBWs than he'll get abroad in Perth in Australia. Most of those pitches, you're not going to get those LBs because the ball will just stay far above that height. But he's going to get it now. And Mayank Markande coming good. These are two very good signs. I just want to return once to the Hyderabad batting. Because the one thing we discussed, and we were talking about in the combox also, Lisa, 20 dot balls in the first 6 overs. 36 balls, 20 dot balls. That's telling you something that they're not being busy enough. I'm sure you can find a single at least, and that is something that, the batting coach will have a look at it, and that'll be an area of concern, saying, we cannot give away. The total was 143, and to be honest with you, Rahul Tripathi batted out of his skin towards the end to get them there. They can't afford to do this every time.
But Lisa, I was asking Joy the same thing in the combox. The pitch looked a bit sticky. So yes, there were those 20 dot balls, but it was also looking a little difficult to play. And then Tripathi just, made it look very easy suddenly.
Yeah, I think the main thing is, and you look at some players that do it well, and I'm thinking of Dave Warner as a prime example. If the ball is just short of a length, he just gets in line, drops it, to cover, and they take off. So, when you have intent to score off every ball, doesn't mean that you have to pick the bat up and hit the ball hard. It can mean soft touches, deft touches, angle your bat, just knock it around here, get up the other end. The easiest way to understand a pitch sometimes is to watch it from the other end. Yeah. So by doing that and thinking, okay, as soon as I'm on strike, I need to get up the other end, that's okay. But as long as you're still looking and playing the ball on its merits, you don't want players then to go, you don't want the next game for Hyderabad to go, okay, right, coach has said we've had 20 dots, so we're going to just go for 20 singles. You still want to be able to hit the loose ball and put pressure on the bowling group. So that intent, that will to score runs off every ball needs to kind of start to happen. And I think a victory like this, you'll see probably a different outfit next game.
Well, the one and only positive for Punjab was Shikhar Dhawan, because from 99 for 8, he took them 88 for 9, he took them to 143. So it was completely one-man army show by Shikhar today.
It was the one-man army show, and that's the one thing that coaches, Trevor Bair is a smart man, he'll be telling his people that, look, he'll be talking to Shikhar also and say, you can bat at 150. You just batted at 150, even when you had to farm the strike a lot of times and couldn't take runs. So this is what you're capable of. Are you just holding her back a little more than you can? Just think about it. And since he's a World Cup winning coach, an extremely experienced man, he'll just leave it there and allow a senior player like Shikhar to figure it out for himself. And I think Shikhar will look at it and say, you know what, if I can dominate like this, why am I playing so much within myself? Because I think the two players who are legitimate IPL goats who are playing within themselves, both for very similar reasons. I mean, Shikhar, I don't understand, is Shikhar Dhawan and David Warner. They're both, and that same Hyderabad, absolutely fantastic opening pair. But both of them are holding back. And I think Shikhar, perhaps if he frees it up a little, it'll be fantastic for his team, because his team is also flattered to deceive in the first few matches. They've had runs, they've had 2 victories, but that middle order is not as strong as you would actually. It's played a lot better than it used to. This match we saw it for what it was, which is a fragile middle order. And I think that's something that he will have to take more of the...
But funnily, both David Warner and Shikhar Dhawan have had the maximum 50 plus scores. So they're consistently playing this IPL, but probably, like you said, not playing their natural game,
Yeah, hard to play a natural game when you keep losing wickets around
the other side. Yeah.
So that's why maybe they just need to come back together, both of them, yeah?
Yeah.
They were pretty
The
dynamic.
union tour.
Yeah.
But, Punjab play GT next. What can they take out for going forward into that game?
Look, I mean, Shikhar's performance, I think, was really good to see. And hopefully he learns from that and goes really hard. Probably the other thing is, Nathan Ellis, he again fought back, even though the figures don't necessarily look like it. He still provided a pretty good performance. So there's a few shining lights, but when you only score 143 runs, it's always going to be a tough day in the office. And sometimes you just need to park that game. And the great thing about the IPL is the carnival moves pretty quickly, and you just got to get on the flight and go to your next place, and away you go. So they just need to park that loss probably and just move on.
Yeah. Well, SRH play KKR next, and talking about KKR, yes, SRH has also got a win, but the win that KKR has gotten has gone into the history books. It's gone into the history books because of one man. Firstly is Rinku Singh, the way he finished it off. No one expected that finish. There was a hat-trick by Rashid and then a very nice innings by Venkatesh Iyer. He set it up well with Nitish Rana. But then that last over finish, we have to get to again Joy answering this for us, because I don't think you're going to be over that finish for a long time to come.
No, absolutely. It's as I said, those are the kind of matches, those are the kind of results you see once in a lifetime. It will not happen again. 5 sixes to end it, and just look at that. Yeah.
It's binary at the top.
Exactly.
First 2.
And then 8 or 14 balls, and then this is what he does. 6-4, 6-6-6. I mean, you just look at those last 7 balls, and it's 640 runs in those 7 balls. It's outstanding batting. And the other thing about it is the consistency with which he hit, and how towards the end, the bowler, first ball he goes wide outside off stump, gets whacked. Then he goes over leg. So it's not the same place as well.
Yes.
But the last 2 balls, he knew he's going for a slow one. So he holds back, waits for the ball to come in. Those are much more difficult to time, because you're pumped with adrenaline. So you want to hit it really hard and really fast. But you have to hold back. And I think he showed a lot more than just brute strength. He showed calmness, he showed temperament. And what happens in a lot of these situations is, the first 2 sixes when you hit, you have nothing to lose. So you're just whacking the ball.
Yeah.
When you've hit the third and you think you have a chance, that's when the nerves come in. And the fact that those 2 balls were slow balls and he held his nerve, I think that is the most amazing part of it. And this is a famous victory. It will really turn them around to the side. most importantly, looking at a batting card where the top 3 stars were Venkatesh Iyer, Rinku Singh and Nitish Rana will make them feel fantastic. They said, this is why we watch Chandrakant Pandit in here. I think that's the really good news for them. It's not Andre Russell who's done it for them. It's not Cricbuzz who's done it for them. It's the Indian guys who they've invested in the last 3-4 years. All these guys are people who've been at least 3-4 years with Kolkata. And they have finally given them rewards.
And I think the other point, and I saw it on social media, is the one Indian coach in IPL. And
two Indian coaches, opposite each other.
but in the sense that, he's had a long career already, worked with a lot of players, state cricket, and then gets an opportunity. So, there's a good story to come out of this, and maybe some learnings.
Talking about social media, it's gone completely crazy and understandably slow because pretty much everyone has tweeted. There is the master himself who's tweeted. There is Rohit, Zach, Viru. You name the person, they've tweeted in favor of him. Shah Rukh, of course, has gone completely crazy. Joy, what do you expect? You think there'll be a call coming in from Shah Rukh to Rinku, or how does it, when there's something this big that happens?
I don't know where the next match is. Is it Kolkata?
Yes, it's
Shah Rukh
Kolkata.
will definitely be there. He'll go early. In a time like this, you want to be with the team because the team has so much positive energy that even if you have other stuff to do, you want to. It's very rare when teams are in this heightened mood of energy. It doesn't happen. It happens once a season, sometimes once in 2 seasons. So there's a movement here, something, and anyone who's close to it wants to come in, wants to feel it, wants to stay there and live off it. Just feed off it, and that's what happens. And I think right now they'll be on a huge high. The thing about them is Chandrakant is a very experienced coach, is to control them and say that, you haven't won the IPL as yet. This is a great match. It's a fantastic start. There's a long way to go. Control yourselves, focus. But it is such a shot in the arm for the team. It is an amazing shot in the arm. Can I say that I believe even had they lost and yet come close enough, it would have been a shot in the arm saying, look at what we can do if we really want to.
Yeah.
But this is just going to take them in a different level.
But Lisa, because you've been on the field and you've won 4 World Cups, when you have like these really exciting games that happen, like Joy said that when you get back on the field, you have to say, okay, today is a new day, let me calm down, whatever's happened yesterday has happened. So what do you think probably is playing in like Rinku's mind, because 2 back-to-back innings that he's played, beautiful knocks?
No, there will be a belief that they can chase down any total. So, absolutely, you've got to keep your emotions in check, kind of bottle this feeling that you have, because you want to focus on the rest of the tournament. You don't want to party like you've just won the World Cup or the tournament, because there is a long way to go. But there will be a belief that this side can win from any situation. That is hard to teach, that is hard to coach, and that only happens when you're actually thrown in that situation. The Australian women's cricket side lives and breathes this regularly, and they have shown it time and time again, normally against the Indian women's side.
Every time we think
Commonwealth Games, T20 World Cups,
Yes.
Just when you think India are going to come away with victory, they snuck it, they pull it out of thin air, pick up a wicket in mysterious fashions, and all of a sudden they get on a roll. Kolkata will be exactly the same. They've got a belief that they can chase down the runs.
Yeah, well, they've got the belief that they can chase down the runs, but as cricket fans not taking and supporting any team, this has gone down in the history books and will be remembered as one of the finest chases in the IPL. I think we can go on talking about this game, but we don't have too much time. We need to now move on and see what's happening tomorrow, because we have another exciting game tomorrow, because Bangalore takes on Lucknow. This is the 15th match. It happens in Bangalore. Joy, you think Bangalore is going to be very happy to finally go back home? They want to just press that erase button and say that the last match never happened, and they want to probably just remember what they did to Mumbai in their last match.
I think they want to, and I think that Virat will look at it as a forgettable innings and say that we need to move forward. Faf is in good form. He'll just say, see, if you have one loss, it's more like a blip. Okay, it's a blip. It's happened. It happens to everybody. So we have lost one. Let's go back. Let's rediscover what we are good at. And also, they also feed off the crowd. I mean, the Chinnaswamy crowd is, again, probably one of the most passionate crowds in the country. They feed off their crowds. Virat feeds off that crowd. And he can raise that crowd to a frenzy. So he'll say, just win this one. that will be forgotten. And that's a great thing about a tournament like this, because you play thick and fast. You know, teams go on streaks. And I can tell you one thing, Saiyami, the way streaks are, the teams, you'll get losing streaks, you'll get winning streaks. The teams that handle themselves well through losing streaks are teams that do well. Because you're going to lose 2 in a row sometimes, or 3 in a row. And your ability to be able to take
There are
that.
15 seasons of that.
Yeah. And keep your shape as a team, as they say. Keep your shape as a team. The relationships keep going. They still keep doing the right things. You'll be fine. But a lot of teams with those 2-3 losses start breaking down. There's recriminations. You start dropping, picking.
You start pointing fingers and it's your fault, his fault.
And then it's chop and change. Still no batsman, no bowler has any confidence.
But they have a really power pack squad. So, you know, we know that they have a squad that can go on to win the IPL. You know, there's Faf and Virat who's in great form, and Reece Topley is out. But Wayne Parnell comes in, so that kind of strengthens their death bowling, which has been probably a little weak, Lisa.
Yeah, well, I'd say weak is a nice word. It's the worst since 2022.
I'm very scared of RCB fans because they can get very lethal with their trolling.
No, we're just providing the facts, aren't we? So they're going at 11. Mohammad Siraj is going over 13 in those last 5 overs. So that is a concern. So maybe is Hasaranga available?
Not tomorrow.
No, not available. Bad luck. Wait till the next game for him. But the main thing is that they need to find a death bowler. Maybe it's a Wayne Parnell, but they need to at least take some wickets up the front. Willie was excellent in the last game. He picked up a couple of wickets. So if they can get a few wickets at the top and in the first 10 overs, then it might be a little bit easier at the end.
Joy, if you have to pick your 4 overseas players, who do you think?
I think just if we go back to that list, I mean, most of them pick themselves. Duplessis, and obviously up front you have Duplessis, Maxwell, they pick themselves. At this point in time, they have to take, you know, an international bowler. If Parnell is there, I'd really be looking at both Willie and Parnell, because what it does then is it gives me a certain amount of balance in terms of the batting abilities as well. Because Willie can bat a bit, Parnell can bat a bit, it gives you a bit more. I think under conditions like this, while Bracewell had one very decent match, I'd have to say that, you know, a player of the quality of Parnell walks in straight off, because he gives you stuff at the death. And frankly, normally the RCB ground, Chinnaswamy is not very kind to spinners. So if it's between a spinner and somebody who can swing it back and bowl a few little in the death, you'd probably go with the seamer.
Well, they're playing Lucknow tomorrow, and the Bangalore boy comes back home. That's KL Rahul. Can he pull off what Ajinkya Rahane did in Mumbai? We can only wait and watch. But KL Rahul also, I think, you know, has not really come to the party. So I think he'd want to come to his home ground and score big runs.
Yeah, I mean, it's been 4 years since he went back to Chinnaswamy. I think he's visited that ground 3 times in the opposition team and never won a game. Yes. So he'll want to change things around pretty quick, smart. Obviously knows the conditions well, played all of his cricket there, and it's a great batting ground. You know, the ball just flies around. I think if there was a ground where he's going to light up the stage, it's certainly Chinnaswamy, and he needs to as well. He needs to get back in the runs, and he needs to lead from the front.
Joy, we'll have a look at the squad, but you know, with Quinton de Kock coming in and Mayers being in that terrific form that he's in, a problem for them maybe to pick between the two.
It was amazing. I mean, last match, I loved the way they sat out Mark Wood.
Yes.
They just played it around. See, that sends you one other message. That's also sending a message saying, this is a team, the way they run it, and this is both Gautam and their coach Andy Flower. There are no sacred cows. Mark Wood may be a bowler who's taken 8 wickets in the first 2 matches. This is not a match for Mark Wood. We're going to drop him. It doesn't matter. And that's fantastic. I like it, because in some ways it says that there is nothing more important than this team winning. Quinton de Kock may be a great player. No, we don't have the time for you. Not this match. We'll see you next match. Kylie Mayers has performed. He's going to play there continuously. Mark Wood, we are not going to play him. This is not the pitch. If you remember, it was a minefield of a pitch, especially for spinners, really low and slow. They didn't use Mark Wood. So it's not just a question of a niggle. They are also very clear about that the match strategy will decide their team. The important thing there is the team must buy into it as well. Yeah. Because as players, they don't like being chopped and changed all the time, because sometimes it unsettles players. So you have to be a completely unselfish player to say, okay, this is my 11, this is what's But they've done a couple of good things. They've used 3 matches, but they've given Kunal Pandya the confidence at 4. And by doing that, giving them that Indian batsman at 4, they scale Rahul up front, they've started getting that middle order together, and I think that's important for them.
But Lisa, if you pick up your 4 overseas players for tomorrow, because like Joy said, it's a tough one because it depends on conditions, it depends on who feels how.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Quinton, Puran,
So
Mayers.
Quinton in for Mayers?
No. And I'm dropping Stoinis.
Ah.
Yeah. So, and bringing back Wood potentially. So yeah, that's what I would do. I think you can't drop Mayers. He's now almost undroppable.
Yes.
I mean, striking it at what 186, 139 runs. So it's you got to keep going really with
And
this guy.
kind of pitch, he can bowl. Chinnaswamy will give you a couple of overs as well.
So maybe that's what I do. I don't know, Joy.
I'm completely with you. Completely with you. In fact, the other thing, I was just looking at that, obviously Amit Mishra, this is not the kind of pitch where Amit Mishra plays. Probably Jaydev Unadkat misses out as well. So you're going to see a lot of change in the bowling as well. I hope Avesh Khan is fit because it's important that he plays the match for them because they will need fast bowlers in these kind of conditions. So if they do that, they'll probably have Avesh Khan and they'll be looking to have another fast bowler out there because they will need. So if you say Kyle Mayers will bowl for them, Mark Wood bowls for them if those two are playing, then you have Avesh Khan bowling for them. They will need to just make sure that their bowling is up to the mark because I think the batting they'll have enough out there. But people like Unadkat are not going to be the most effective and Amit Mishra is not going to be the most effective in these conditions.
So players to watch out for tomorrow, one from each team?
I'd definitely say Faf du Plessis because again I feel more than Virat, I feel du Plessis is very vital to this team. He needs to keep going and he needs to have an orange cap season if they're going to really go forward.
He's going quicker this year as well.
Much quicker,
Definitely
much
quicker.
quicker.
155, 160.
Yeah.
After that whole CPL experience, he sort of replicated it here. So for me, du Plessis on that side. This side, I still feel that it's somebody like a Mark Wood because on batting friendly conditions, if Mark Wood is good, he's the kind of bowler who can get you wickets really rocket fast because the pitch is not going to give them much at all. There's not going to be help for spinners normally. Not in the Chinnaswamy that we know. So
I'm going to go for DK. He's been quiet, and for RCB, he just puts the icing on the cake. Those last few overs, and he hasn't fired yet. I really want to see him.
Everyone at Cricbuzz wants DK to fire.
Yeah, so I think if he can do that, he'll certainly strengthen RCB. And then for Lucknow, I'm going to go Nicholas Puran. I think this is a ground that he is going to love. And I just want to get him up, maybe come in around the 12th over. And boy, it's going to be some entertaining batting.
yeah, if Puran gets going in this ground, you'll see a few outside rolling in to get grilled.
Correct, yeah.
We'll wait and watch who fires tomorrow. But one thing that we've waited for all day is the answer to Mr. Joy Bhattacharya's question. So Joy sir, if you could please.
If Kruger van Wyk, in fact, Kruger van Wyk is from South Africa, but he played with the little international cricket he did for New Zealand. Which Pakistani cricket is at the other end? Well, let's take a look. And it's Mohammad Irfan. Van Wyk is the shortest ever men's international cricketer. He was 4 feet 9.5 to 10 inches tall, and Irfan, of course, is 7 feet 1 and a bit. And yeah, that's the answer. And I just thought that, there's so many stats floating around in cricket, but I was just looking at Marco Jansen and saying how many bowlers would have been taller than him. And then it went into, okay, Bruce Street was there, perhaps taller than him. And then Mohammad Irfan, and I said, let me have a question on Irfan. If he's the tallest, who is the shortest? And then so that's why rarely you'll see me saying men's cricketer because I wanted to make sure that there's no controversy out there.
Well, let's see who's got the answer quickest because I had no idea, like always.
Piyush Vashish.
Vashish
This is a new
gets
name.
it.
I haven't seen it though, but if he's an old star, good for him. But it's a good answer because it's not the most easy one to Google, if you know what I mean. Because you'll search Kruger, but when you look at a cricketer, the first thing you don't search for is his height. So,
Joy, you're getting more and more attention because you have more and more viewers answering your questions. So that's a big thumbs up, like your photograph.
I look as if I'm doing a county club advertisement, thumbs up like that. I don't know. They made me pose like that,
Did they? I think you wanted the photo like that. Be honest now.
Please, this is late in the evening. Just don't tell us secrets anymore.
Got it.
Let's quickly have a look at the points table because there's lots that happened today because Kolkata go up to number 2 in the points table with that win today. And of course, Rajasthan sit at the top. Well, Mumbai and Delhi still floating down there below. We'll see what happens with Bangalore and Lucknow tomorrow, but that's where we stand as of today.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? I mean, it's no one's really kind of going
top
out
6
there,
are all 2-1.
Yeah.
All top 6 are 2-1. It's just a matter of run rates.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very packed table right now.
Early days.
Early days, only Delhi and Mumbai are looking out of it. But anything can happen.
Well, I think it's been a very long day, 2 days for you all. It's been a very exciting day for me because it's my first double header. We had guaranteed you that it's going to be a super Sunday, and well, it turned out to be a super duper Sunday because of Rinku and Joyce's laughter like a child when Kolkata won.
I'm so glad we captured that.
So glad we had Joy with us when Kolkata did this historic thing. Thank you, Joy, for joining us, and thank you, Lisa. Could we have asked for anything more?
No worries.
Are you happy? Are you happy with today's day? Historic, goes into the record books.
It's a big day. I'll find it difficult to sleep. It's a big one.
Thank you so much for joining in. That's all for now. It's been an exciting day, but we'll see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Good night and goodbye.
Jaipur via Kota.
कृपया ध्यान आपको अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವ ರೈಲು
Hyderabad Superfast Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন। कृपया ध्यान दें